Okay.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Leslie Tavernier back again to talk to you about the dark feminine, dark masculine relationship. I am here with my dark masculine man, and I'm going to ask him to introduce himself, please.
Peace and blessings. This is Rakim Sekou, also known as Carly Stevens Jr. I am a metaphysician, a tantric practitioner, and I've been a relationship coach for about 15 to 20 years. I operate a spiritual academy called Pantheon, which can be found at pantheon.makajabi.com.
Beautiful. I have a lot to cover today. There's a lot of things. But what we're going to start with is a woman she calls herself Life Coach Sean. She's on Facebook. She's also on Instagram apparently. And she did a critique of you. Of one of your reels where you talked about decentering men and where you said basically that the decentering men movement is largely a bunch of middle-aged women who are bitter and hurt by men. And so they're just, kind of spreading their misery around. And so she took offense to you using the term bitter to describe these women. And so she came onto the reel, and I'll just tell you a little bit of what she said. She said women like her who are, they're in their 40s, like me. She said, we're just trying to warn younger women about not making a man the center of your life. We're making younger women hip to the game. We're leveling the playing field. Or we're making it harder for young women to be manipulated by men the way that we were. And she also went on to say that, a lot of women, like her that, were previously married or whatnot, we experience a lot of mistreatment. She mentioned weaponized incompetence. I'm not sure what that is. She mentioned malicious compliance. I'm also not sure what that is. And she also mentioned the phenomena of married single moms. So women who are married, but they feel like they're a single mother. And then she said, what's even worse is that, a lot of women, they're married for 20, 30 years. They do all this work, they raise the children, and then their husband suddenly decides to leave them for a younger woman, for a younger model, she said. And so then that woman is now forced to start over. She has no money, she has no credit history, she has no job history, she has nothing. And her husband left her for a younger woman, and now she's completely ass out. So basically, she's saying, look, it's not about bitterness. It's about making sure that the younger generation of women don't go through the bullshit that women in their 40s and 50s have gone through. So, what's your take on that, Rakim?
Well, that's a lot. So I'll have to try to address it piece by piece, and then you can add
Okay.
parts I missed.
Okay.
You named a lot of things I think we should address.
Hmm.
In terms of what I said about the decentering movement, what I'm really saying is the women who started that movement and who championed that movement and the primary influencers who are talking about decentering are the women who are just like her. They're her age, they're divorced with children, right? And so all I was trying to say is like that's where that particular movement comes from. It comes from women who have experienced relationships that didn't work out for them or tried to get into a marriage or relationship but it didn't work out for them and they ended up with children or whatever. And now they've called the movement decentering men because they have an issue with men as a result of whatever they went through. That was my only point. I'm not saying that other women at different ages aren't also hearing what these women are saying and liking some of the things that they're saying. And the reason why women like a lot of things that they might be saying is because what these women are conflating two different things. One is decentering men, which is making yourself sovereign and making yourself the center of your life. They're conflating that with the original women's empowerment movement, which had that in there already. So as you know, my wife Kenya Kay is a woman's empowerment advocate. She's been doing it for over 20 years. She's been doing it since I've known her, actually 30 years. And she's always advocated women making themselves the center of their lives, the center of their relationships, the center of their financial wherewithal, the center of their spiritual wherewithal. That is the movement. So when a woman who's talking about decentering talks about women's empowerment, she's conflating two different movements. The decentering of men and the decentering of women on the men's side for the red pill community, that's already built into the women's empowerment movement. I'm sorry if you've gone through very hard times and you've had challenges inside your marriage and you've had divorces and that you really weren't involved in the women's empowerment movement. You weren't tapped into who you are as a feminine woman. You weren't tapped into what it means to utilize your power as a woman inside your relationship. That you didn't understand what a communication meant. You didn't understand what the red flags are. You didn't understand how to really protect yourself and your family and your legacy as a result. But that's not what decentering is really talking about. There's already a movement for women empowerment. You see what I'm saying? Even feminism talked a lot about women empowerment and making yourself the center. Now, it didn't really do that exactly because again, it was kind of focused on men and the government and policy. But
Mhm.
no, the women's empowerment movement already centered women. The whole message is centering yourself as a woman.
Okay.
So I know I didn't tackle everything. But I want to tackle the other things you had on that list as well.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. So, so are you blaming these women for these failed relationships? Is that what? Because I'm playing devil's advocate here because I know that a woman like her hearing this might say, "Oh, you're blaming women because these relationships didn't work out."
It's not about blame. As you know, we don't believe in the concept of blame. Within Pantheon, we don't subscribe to blame or to villains or feeling shame about yourself or the victim mentality. We believe that everybody is attracting what they need in order to help them grow to the next level. So if you pick a man, for example, and you pick a relationship scenario that turns out to not be fulfilling or be abusive or whatever, it's not that it's your fault. You see what I'm saying? But it is your responsibility. You're the one who's accountable for what you're experiencing inside the relationship. And what happened is, yeah, you didn't have the tools to either choose better or see the red flags or set proper boundaries for yourself or to learn how to deal with conflict resolution or to learn how to be within your authentic self and not, compromise yourself as a woman. So
Mhm.
yeah, there's certain things you didn't understand about relationships and about how to deal with men and about what marriage actually is. And you betrayed your authentic self. Yes. It's not about blame. I don't believe in blame. I don't believe in the concept of victims and all that kind of stuff. I believe that, look, you're going to manifest what you earn. You're going to manifest based on who you are, the power you exude, your expectations, the work you're willing to put in, and those types of things. That's what it's about. The other thing I want to say on a separate note is that the issues that people have in relationships today is really about, monogamous culture and modern European Western culture, which we practice here in the West and in America. It's the values of that culture that are causing the issue. It's
Mhm.
capitalism and it's religion and it's monogamous culture that are causing a problem. Capitalism forces hierarchy. You see what I'm saying? Where it's like everything is based on, how much you have or how much you possess, which is why a lot of women are talking about find a man with money. That's a capitalistic, you know, um, quality that's being injected into the relationship. You see what I'm saying? Monogamy, it forces you to just pick one person, right? And
Mhm.
it forces you to, if I want to have somebody else, I have to leave this person. Therefore, the divorce rate and the high cheating rate. You see what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So the issue is not men or women. The issue is people, you know, gravitating towards and practicing a culture of dysfunction, which is ruining relationships. It's the culture of monogamy. It's Western European culture and it's capitalism and modern religion that have destroyed our ability to relate to one another, to build family, to build community.
Wow. Well, she took offense to you describing women like her as bitter, because she kept saying over and over again, I'm not bitter. I'm just trying to help the younger generation of women. So, what do you say about that?
Well, she is bitter. I mean, I didn't watch the video,
Mhm.
but she's definitely hurt. She hasn't healed from her trauma. The fact that she didn't tag me in the video shows that she's bitter, right?
Mhm.
That's kind of like, and you even said it, it's kind of like an underhanded slight, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, it is what it is. I mean, I'm not criticizing you. We're all bitter about something. I'm bitter about the way I was done in corporate America. I'm bitter about the way the government is treating us right now as citizens. I'm
Mhm.
angry as well. You see what I'm saying? It doesn't make me a victim to all that stuff. I'm just saying, like, I haven't healed from that. I'm still offended when I see the government, shooting people in the streets and when the police brutality versus black people. Like, I'm still hurt by that. I'm not healed by that. So yes, I am bitter, and we're all bitter. Like, what's the problem with being bitter? Like, I know bitter is a word that people take offense to. It's like one of those words that people think you're attacking somebody. But no, like, if you're doing a decentering men movement as opposed to a woman's empowerment movement, where you make yourself the center and the title of the damn movement, then there probably is some bitterness. You see what I'm saying? Like, why are men the center of your movement? Why is the word male or man even in the title of the movement? You're making everything worse. You see what I'm saying? It's just like, like I was saying, like with Alcoholics Anonymous. The reason why they call it that is because these are people who are struggling with alcohol addiction. They had a bad round with alcohol, and now they are inside Alcoholics Anonymous. That's why you name the movement Alcoholics Anonymous, because you had an issue with alcohol. You have an issue with alcohol. That's what these women have done. They had an issue with men, and they call the men they call the movement decentering men.
Yeah.
Well, that's counterproductive. That's all I was really trying to say. I know she caught offense to it. I wasn't trying to be offensive, but I understand that word bitter. People get offended by that, but no, you have to heal more. And in terms of her helping the younger generation, I'm all for that. My wife, as you know, is one of the primary people and founders of the women's empowerment movement in terms of the Black community. In the modern age. You see what I'm saying? I talk to her all the time. I'm like, why are women not talking more about, just their sexuality, how they feel after pregnancy, how they feel approaching menopause, and all these things? Like, why are women not communicating more about this stuff to each other and to the younger generations? Like, I'm an advocate for women's empowerment. Like, I'm in the women's empowerment business and in the women's empowerment movement. I've been doing this for a long time.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it to try to tear down the movement. And like I said on the last podcast, like with the racist movement here in the United States, I tell Black people the same thing. Stop calling it goddamn white supremacy.
Hmm.
You're empowering subconsciously. You're empowering the people you're fighting against.
Hmm.
At least say Black supremacy or Black set, like something else other than white supremacy. It's ridiculous. So
Yeah.
that's my main thing with the women's, decentering men movement is like, what are you all doing?
Yeah.
And like I said before, a lot of what they're talking about is really just women's empowerment, movement, information and stuff and education and stuff like that. So it's got nothing to do with you moving away from men. Like, again, when you teach young girls this information, they shouldn't really have any interaction with men or boys in relationships from that standpoint. So really, it's just education. It's women's empowerment. It's mastering your femininity as a woman, learning how to wield it properly, learning what the masculine is, learning how to interact with it properly, because you're going to need to do that whether you're in a relationship or not. Like, I've heard a lot of these women talk about, well, we don't want men. Like, what are you talking about? Okay, don't get with a man, but you still have to deal with men on a regular basis, unless you're one of those women who say, you're going to move to the island with all women. What are y'all even talking about?
Yeah, and a lot of these women will say, no, we don't hate men, we still love men, yada yada yada. But here's the thing that I've noticed, Rakim, like a lot of these women's empowerment coaches and influencers, relationship coaches, and so on, like a lot of them really believe that the majority of men are no good, that they're actually terrible. And I have two examples of that to share with you. So one of them is a very popular influencer by the name of Kissy Denise, and she says some wonderful things, and she's a beautiful woman. But I was reading one of her posts lately. And she said in that post that, and she was specifically speaking about Black men and Black women. That's who she's talking to, not all men and all women. And she said the truth is a good portion of men are terrible, whether people want to admit that or not. So if you don't shift your frequency, how are you to attract the smaller portion of good men? You owe it to yourself to be with a man who provides, so you see how it feels. Being with a man who is whole, who doesn't cheat, so you can see what peace and trust feels like. So she's literally admitting in that post that the type of man that a woman should want is in a small percentage. So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, that's the same thing that the red pill men are saying. They're
Mhm.
saying that all the women, no matter what their level is in terms of the dating scale,
Mhm.
that they're all trying to get the same 20% of men. So
Mhm.
that's the whole complaint that the red pill movement has of men. And what Kissy is saying, and I know her personally, what she's saying isn't accurate. I mean, it's not that most men are bad or negative or of low quality. It's
Mhm.
that the culture is of low quality. And therefore the values you're given as a man, as a woman are just they're trash. You know, the family structures that are nurturing these young boys and young girls into adults is not doing its job. That's why you have so many people running around who are acting irresponsibly and being overly selfish in terms of how they move in the world and those types of things. So it's not that, you know, most men are trash, you know, or negative or whatever. No, it's the men that you want to date. You see what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
to switch it to a different thing, there's a number of men who are really good men who are solid men, right?
Mhm.
But in her analysis, she's basically saying we're not willing to choose those men because they lack one of these top qualities that we're looking for in a man, like
Yeah.
6 feet tall, makes $250,000 a year, has, you know, six pack abs, you know, whatever. You see what I'm saying? Like, and so just because a man doesn't have those particular qualities doesn't mean he's not a good man. Like a lot of these men, and this is what the men are complaining about. They're saying that we're good men, we don't cheat, we don't do all these things. But yeah, I'm not 6 feet, I'm not, you know, making 250 a year and all this kind of stuff. But no, you're
Yeah.
just a lot of women are not looking at these men, and a lot
Mhm.
of women are saying, "Look, I believe I deserve more and better." And the reality is, what you deserve is what you currently are looking at in the mirror. Your current situation is defining what you deserve. Now, if you want more, which again, I advocate for women having more, I want all women to have exactly what they want, to have the best. You see what I'm saying? But in order
Mhm.
to do that, you have to change your mindset. You have a poverty mindset when it comes to men. You've got a poverty mindset when it comes to relationships. You've got a poverty mindset when it comes to what you can actually manifest. You got a poverty mindset in terms of how you're viewing yourself. You see what I'm saying? So you're not able to attract and magnetize the things that you claim that you want. In addition to that, because you haven't done your healing work, right? What happens is when you don't do your healing work, the men who show up in your life are direct reflections of who you are.
Mhm.
You can only attract who and what you are. So these women are attracting men who are exact and direct reflections of the level that they're on,
Mhm.
even the level of integrity, even whether or not you're lying or cheating, all these types of things. So, no, that's why I'm trying to let people know like self work is the key. When I work with my clients, like we do the work, they make these internal shifts, and all of a sudden their wife is acting better. All of a sudden their husband is acting better. All of a sudden they're attracting more high caliber, high quality men. All of a sudden they're attracting more opportunities. It's all about the work you do within.
Yeah.
So I hear what she's saying. I understand what she's saying, and like I said, I know her personally, but you know, it's a lot deeper than what she's really talking about.
All right, so I'm going to give you a second example, and this one is actually kind of complex. So we're going to have to go through it piece by piece. So there's another black man. I think he's gay. He seems like he's
Yeah.
gay, and he coaches women. He calls himself dating coach Anwar, and he had a video on YouTube where he says black men. So he's specifically talking about black men are the hardest group of men to date. And he cited the divorce rates amongst black men compared to other races of men in the United States. And then he mentioned 4 points, sorry, not four, 5 points about black men as to why they're the hardest to date. So the first thing he said, he brought up the mommy issues. And so he gave two ways that this shows up. So one is a lot of black men were raised by a single mother. And so either A, they were enmeshed or entitled with their single mom. And so they think they're the prize and they're looking for women to be their mothers, or they're running away from their mom. They're running away from their highly critical, highly judgmental mom. And so both of those patterns are showing up in the relationships that black men are having with largely black women. So let's just talk about that first. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree with him in terms of the patterns that are showing up in black men.
Mhm.
Again, we know that the black family structure is dysfunctional, and it's dysfunctional for a few reasons. One, because it's trying to follow a model that's not natural. The model for family is actually community, right? Again, go back to the African proverb: "It takes a village to raise a child." We're nowhere near that in this country, right? So we try to emulate the nuclear monogamous family, and it's dysfunctional. It does not work. It's psychologically sick, actually, to put somebody in that structure and expect them to come out, mentally balanced or
Mhm.
emotionally balanced. There's not enough. Children need more than just two primary adults, and don't have like both adults working, then it's impossible. But yes, I agree with them that a lot of black boys were raised in single parent households by their mother specifically, and as a result, they are angry and upset. I tried to tell. I've been saying this for years. I've been saying that you know, if you are a child and you are raised in a single parent household, you are angry at, really both of your parents, whatever parent that you're living with. Now,
Mhm.
why are you angry at that parent? Because as a child, you are blaming your guardian parent for why your other parent's not there. Now, people try to rationalize that like an adult would.
Mhm.
That's not how children rationalize it. That's why people, when they do inner child work, they don't really understand what they're doing. A child doesn't see life that way, doesn't see relationships that way. A
Mhm.
child sees, look, my father is not here. Now, who do I hold accountable for all my pain, for everything I feel? My mother. So that's what's happening. So yeah, when these children get older, because there's no initiation, because people aren't really aware, they take that childhood trauma into their adult life and into
Mhm.
their adult relationship. So absolutely, these boys oftentimes grow up mad at women in general, and yes, they're channeling the anger they have towards their mother. Now, what this
Mhm.
man's talking about, this is a gay man,
Mhm.
and as you know, within Pantheon, we believe in supporting everybody and their choice in terms of how they relate, who they relate with. So I've
Mhm.
I've been lucky enough to have been exposed to a lot of gay men who talk about their experiences with other men, and yet
Okay.
the same dysfunction is there. You can't go to, like, for example, the homosexual community and escape the trauma that the heterosexual community is facing. It's the same people. It's the
Mhm.
same boys that were raised in these single parent households. It's the same women that were raised by mothers who did not teach them how to communicate, did not teach them about feminism and feminine energy, and did not teach them how to, tap into their power as women. So
Mhm.
it's the same people. It doesn't matter if you're in a gay relationship, in a lesbian relationship, in a heterosexual, the same exact things happen. So in terms of what he's saying, it's right. He's right in terms of those traumas and how they
Mhm.
affect adult relationships, and it's right in terms of the Black community, because unfortunately, the Black community deals with a lot of dysfunction as a result of the racism that we've dealt with in this country, and the bigotry and those types of things.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, because Black people on the whole are insisting on trying to fit into a system and a family structure that's not natural to them. What's natural to us is community. We do best when there's a number of us coming together to support each other, to love each other, and to raise these children together. That's the only way it really works.
Mhm. And so here's a second point that he made. I'm going to try to go through these quickly. He says that Black men are less educated and make less money than Black women, and that this is the only racial group where this happens. Black men feel emasculated and they try to control and humble the Black woman because of this. So, your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, there are a lot of Black men who they try to humble the women, but that's a
Mhm.
human thing. So
Okay.
again, that's not just a Black thing. So I push back against him like that. So one of the things that people do when they feel insufficient or they feel insecure in themselves, a lot of people tend to try to humiliate or humble the other people they're in competition with. So
Mhm.
you've heard of the concept, like, people might be in a relationship together, but one person doesn't like the other person. Have you heard of
Mhm.
that before?
Yeah.
So what they end up doing is they try to humble the other person. And men and women both do this. You see
Mhm.
what I'm saying? And Kenya talks a lot about this in a lot of our, classes and workshops. But
Mhm.
yeah, that's just a human thing. If you feel insecure, then you're going to sometimes try to humble the person that you're with or you're around, instead of you just shining,
Yeah.
instead of you just being great. You see what I'm saying? Instead of you just being awesome and you winning, and you utilizing your skills and your talents and your discipline to win. You understand? So that's
Mhm.
true. Like, yeah, a lot of people feel insecure. Do men do this? Absolutely. Do Black men do this? Absolutely. That's the whole thing with the gender wars online. You have a lot of Black men who are trying to humble and humiliate Black women. Yes.
Yeah.
You got the
Yeah.
same thing with the women. He's got these women who are doing the same exact thing. They're trying to humble and humiliate black men by saying they don't have any money and that they're all gay and that they have issues and stuff like that. Why are you saying that about an entire class of people? What are you even talking about? You see what I'm saying? So yes, I agree with him that these are actual issues that we face inside the black community, but they're all this is the same type of thing that happens in all communities. Trust me.
Okay. The third one that he brought up, and you're probably going to say this one is human as well, not just black men, but he said a lot, most black men, they don't have a male mentor or role model or elders. Like there's no man in their life that can actually check them. And so they're just kind of out of control.
That's absolutely true as well.
Mm.
Again, like, we're raising children inside a family structure that does not work. So again, the monogamous family structure doesn't work, and therefore, what happens is one of the parents usually leaves, right, or violates that structure in some kind of way, either via cheating, via divorce, via some kind of abuse, those types of things. And so what happens is you don't have the oversight and the role modeling necessary to ensure children grow up in a healthy way. But if it was a communal situation, there's going to be like 15 or 20 men inside that community. As a young boy, you're not escaping accountability or role models from the masculine when you're in a situation like that. So that's the issue. The issue again is monogamous culture. It's true that these boys that grow up into be men, they didn't have anybody to hold them accountable, and we've seen that. We've seen that with crime. Like black on black crime in many black communities. It's like there's really nobody to check these young men now. You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying? A lot of them grew up with single mothers. The single mother didn't know how to raise him and to be a man, or to discipline him correctly, or to teach him correctly. So now he's a loose cannon out in the streets, and a lot of these men are loose cannons in these relationships. Yeah, they're adult looking. They got muscles. They work out. They make money. All that kind of stuff. But emotionally, no, their emotional intelligence is stunted. And it's the same thing with the women. That's what I'm saying. Like we can try to put the blame on black men or black women, but then you're missing the whole picture. Like these women also don't have the emotional intelligence. We know that women, like, they go off and they just kind of lose it. You know what I'm saying? Just crazy stuff. Like looking at their guy's phone, like just a lot of crazy, immature little girl behavior. And that's because you really weren't raised with solid feminine role models. So you think this stuff is normal. You think it's normal to treat your man like this, or to do little passive aggressive things. You think it's normal to be in competition with women the way you are and try to bring your sisters down and
Ooh,
talk about them behind their back. Like you think that's normal. You think it's
yeah.
healthy. You see what I'm saying? No, you're emotionally immature. You're emotionally stunted. And like our work needs to be like we've got to dedicate our lives really to coming out of that mentality, that way of thinking that we've been intoxicated with from Western culture, from modern European Western culture, where the values are completely trash. There are no values around being a mature human being. The value is strictly around making money and doing those types of things. No, men and women need to heal. I'm not going to feed into like this gender war BS, because that's a part of the emotional immaturity.
Yeah.
I coach men and women. I help men heal from their childhood traumas. I help women heal from their childhood traumas because I want them to come together in healthy families and relationships. Like I was talking to one of my clients today, she's saying like, yeah, like I realized, Rakim, like there's like this toxic monogamous culture prevents me from having healthy relationships with men, because if the man has a girlfriend, then I feel like I'm violating, or I'm trying to look out for the woman or whatever. And it's like, no, like even if I'm attracted to him or he's attracted to me, yeah, we can handle it. I can have the proper boundaries and make sure we just have a good friendship or we have a good working relationship, whatever it is. And that's what I'm talking about. I was so proud of her when she said that. You see what I'm saying? She was like, I realized like I'm closing myself up to like healthy, like really solid, positive masculine relationships and connections with men, because I'm trying to navigate this maze of monogamy and these rules around monogamy. Don't talk to a
Yeah.
man who's married or if he's a girlfriend. Like, what are we talking about? No, mature adults can handle it. I can be in a relationship and have women who are friends, and I'm not going to cross the line with them, and they're not going to cross the line with me.
Wow. The fourth thing that he mentioned, he said there are 100 black women to 88 black men. And this gender ratio gap, it gives black men more power, and therefore it lowers the commitment rates there's higher abandonment rates on behalf of these black men because they know that there's more black women available to them than there are black men available to black women. So your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, that's not true. So
Okay.
the stats might be right. So I'm fine with the stats, whatever, 100 to 88. But it goes back to what we were talking about with the previous segment when you're talking about Kissy Denise and saying only 20% of the men are good, right? This is because the women are trying to date the same men.
Hmm.
So what happens is if I'm one of the men in the 20%,
Hmm.
and I consider myself to be one of the men in the 20% in real
Hmm.
life. You see what I'm saying? So my inbox is full. I'm constantly getting chosen on dating apps. It's very easy for me to date women. It's very easy for me to get into relationships and that kind of stuff. If I'm one of those 20 men and I don't have like a clear focus and clear goals and those types of things, then the temptation for me to go in and out of relationships is too great. It's like giving me a credit card with no limit. Like I'm gonna end up at some point. I'm gonna buy a Bentley. I'm gonna buy a yacht. You see what I'm saying? Like I'm just gonna start buying all these high ticket items. Why? Because there's no limits. If I'm a man of the top 20%, I mean I have women. I mean, usually women don't really historically don't really approach men aggressively. I've had so many women like hit on me over the years. You see what I'm saying? Like aggressively approach me. You see what I'm saying? That it's just it's hard as a man to kind of manage that kind of power. So what's happening? Yeah, a lot of those men, they do not commit or they don't settle down with just one woman because they have all these options. Now again, go back to what I said before with the dysfunction of the black family. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, now if I also don't have emotional intelligence, but I'm in the top 20% and I'm attracting all these women, that makes it even worse. So yes, I agree in terms of from the fact that a lot of men are not going to commit if they're in the top 20%. But again, that's not the issue. The issue is monogamous culture and women in this case trying to choose men who that you're not aligned to those men. You need to be choosing men that are vibrationally aligned to you, and you and that man need to learn to work on your relationship and learn to grow together. You see what I'm saying? And shed this Western cultural monogamous BS that is literally have you shackled and acting in dysfunction inside these marriages.
The fifth thing, and you'll agree with this one because you did say it earlier. He did mention that there are many micro and macro aggressions that black men face, and this creates depression and anger. And those black men, they bring it home to their wife and their children.
Absolutely. Yeah, and that's, the environment it's a hard environment to live inside of. But that's again more of a fact of life. Like, yeah, life is going to face, there's going to be a number of challenges in life. It's going to be difficult. I don't really care how you're raised, life is still going to come off as very difficult, very challenging. But yes, when black men face these microaggressions, like I faced that in corporate America. I've faced like not having opportunities, being frozen out of meetings and frozen out of, promotional things and those types of stuff. And it did affect me. I remember working in corporate America and like remembering how that felt to be excluded from activities and excluded from meetings and excluded from opportunities and to grow and to learn. I'm like, man, this is how these people are getting promoted, is that they create these like very tight cliques and circles, and they do it with people they feel comfortable with, which is usually like other white people. You see what I'm saying? And so they develop these small cliques, and these cliques include the leaders inside the corporations. And so it's natural you're going to promote the people that you know and talk to on a regular basis, as opposed to this black guy over here who you only see in passing high and by, and maybe what I'm saying. Like, so yeah, like the microaggressions that we face as black men, we take that home, but black women face those same microaggressions.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And they take that stuff home as well, and that affects the family and affects the children, and it affects your energy. Do you have the energy to sit down with your children and work with them and have hard conversations with your husband, or do you need to come home and get a glass of wine every night? Like we know it's an epidemic in with black women. Is a lot of black women they have to have wine, at least a glass of wine every night. Like I know a lot of them. You know what I'm saying? Like I grew up watching women have to drink, like working women have to drink every night. I know a lot of it's because of financial responsibilities, but a lot of it's because of the things that they face, like dealing with structural racism.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So it's affecting everybody.
So moving on, we're going to talk about shoulds because again, a lot of these influencers and coaches they use the word should a lot and they'll say things like a real man should or ought to or would naturally feel inspired to pay for everything or show up in a certain way with a woman and a real woman would operate in a certain way. And so there's a lot of shoulds and I remember you saying to me in a conversation that when it comes to relationships there really aren't any shoulds. It's really just agreements that may be temporary, short term, or long term, but there's no should. So can you say a little bit more about that philosophy of yours?
Absolutely. So the whole point of the women's empowerment movement and the overall sovereign movement that, we practice at Pantheon is about making you the center of your life and your relationship. So what that means is you can have it any way that you want it. You see what I'm saying? So if you want a man, for example, if you're a woman, you want a man to pay for everything, that's
Mhm.
perfectly fine. It's your life, it's your world. You can create that. If you're a man and you want a woman to pay for everything, you can
Mhm.
create that. It's fine. So what we're saying is there really are no shoulds. When we launched the women's empowerment movement, when we did like in terms of the work that my wife did,
Mhm.
um, the whole point was for her to bring a message to women like you can have it the way you want. You don't have to adhere to any traditions, no
Mhm.
standards, no gender roles. You don't have to adhere to any of that. That was her whole message. And when you look at her life and her relationships and the way she has things structured, she's an example of that. You see what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So no, it's she understands, and women who are like really empowered understand nobody has to do anything for me and nobody owes me nothing.
Mhm.
Period. Now, if I want them to show up a particular way, then that's something I can negotiate, or I can find the men who are going to do that, or whatever. The same thing on the men's side. Like men are doing, see, when these influencers are saying that men should do this or women should do that, these are passive aggressive attacks at the opposite gender. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Because it's not true.
Yeah.
So if I'm a man and I want a woman to do X, Y, and Z, then I need to go out and find that woman. And there are a lot of women who would be with me and agree to do the things that I hold as valuable in
Mhm.
exchange for whatever they're looking for from me. You see what I'm saying? But
Mhm.
everybody values different things. Some women just want a man who's going to be present with them, who can hold space with them, who can treat them in a very positive way. Um, you know, support her and the family. Do
Mhm.
all those types of things. Some women just looking for that.
Mhm.
Some women need like, well, no, I got to have a great sexual connection with him.
Mhm.
Like for many women, that's a deal breaker. When the
Yeah.
man stops having sex, bro, like they're like, I'm ready to leave.
Yeah, that's
There's
true.
other women who want the money. They're like, I need not just you to pay for my lifestyle in terms of the home and all that, but I need to be able to do special things, go on trips, buy extra stuff. I need like special accounts that are set up just for me and things of that nature. So it
Mhm.
depends on the person, right?
Mhm.
And it also depends on the stage of life you're in. What you want when you're 18 and 21 and 25 is different than what you want at 37 and 43. It's
Sure.
different than what you want at 57 and 65.
Mhm.
So it's also a stage of life thing. But the
Mhm.
point of the women's empowerment movement and the sovereign movement is you can go out and create this, but nobody owes you anything. If you
Mhm.
have the mindset that a man owes you to pay for your stuff, then you're losing.
Mhm.
Nobody owes you anything. This life doesn't owe you anything. The government doesn't owe you anything. You're not even guaranteed rights. I was talking to my wife Kenya, I was saying, like we don't have like rights to vote as black people in this country. Like they vote on that shit like every 4 years or something like that. Like if they vote against it one year, like we can't vote. You see what I'm saying? Like, and it might happen based on the current regime and stuff like that. Like we're not guaranteed anything. I'm not guaranteed a vote in this country. I'm not guaranteed anything. So
Mhm.
whatever it is that I want in this life, I need to create it. I need to manifest it. You see what I'm saying? And that includes relationships. If I want a woman to treat me a particular way, I need to develop the qualities and characteristics of a man that help me attract and be able to manage that kind of relationship with a woman. Period, point blank.
Okay. So recently, actually just yesterday, your wife, Kenya, said on her Instagram that if a man is insisting on sexual exclusivity or monogamy, that man should be willing to pay for 100% of everything.
Yeah, so what Kenya's saying is, and she's speaking primarily for her,
Okay.
um, and philosophically, but she's saying, look, if you're a man and you're going to like hold me to a bunch of rules that I don't really want to follow, then you really have to be bringing a lot to the table. Like you have to make it worth my time. You see what I'm saying? So there's a
Mm.
number of women who are with men who are rich.
Yeah.
And women are not really sexually attracted to these men like that. And
Yeah.
I'm this is on previous podcasts, like Jeff Bezos, for example. There's no
Mhm.
way his wife is into him like that sexually. But because he's so rich and pays for absolutely everything, she's willing to do that. You see what I'm saying? And a lot of women are willing to do that. Just like a lot of men are willing to do it too. Like a lot of men are willing to be sexually exclusive if my woman fucks me every night and sucks me every night, or see what I'm saying? So everybody has their particular thing that they're willing to say, look, I will be exclusive with you if you bring the following things to the table. But yeah, for some women, it's going to be money. For other women, they're like, look, I don't need the money, but as long as you give me the kind of sex I'm looking for on a regular basis, then I don't care if you go cheat. You were talking about somebody, oh yeah, you're talking about Shira Seven. How you
Mhm.
said she doesn't really care if her husband cheats. Why? Because she's getting the other things that she needs. So
Mhm.
to me, this stuff, and he's the breadwinner, right? He pays the bills or whatever. Or that's what she said or claimed.
So she
So
says.
yeah, so it just depends on the person. It's no shoulds though. You see what I'm
Mm.
saying? It's just based on what you negotiate and what you attract.
Okay. So we're going to talk some more about the dark feminine, dark masculine now. So some women believe that if they could just be more soft and feminine, or if they were soft and feminine enough, or if they could make him fall in love with them, or if they were the best in bed, or if they spend a lot of money on their dark masculine or overgive to him in some kind of way, that that could or ought to ensure that he remains sexually exclusive. Uh, is there a way for a woman to guarantee that her dark masculine never has sex with another woman?
No, there's no guarantees in life. So you can't guarantee another person's behavior. You can never guarantee another person's behavior. You understand? So
Mhm.
the things that they're saying, like if I'm the best in bed, if I'm soft and feminine, that won't guarantee anything, right? So remember who we're talking about. We're talking about a dark masculine man, right?
Mhm.
So these are usually men who are very good in bed. And
Yeah.
these are usually men who a lot of women want and desire. Okay.
Mhm.
So how many soft and feminine women do you think he's coming up against? A ton. How many women do you think are throwing money at him? Probably a lot. How many
Mm.
women are like really fucking him really, really good? Probably a lot. You see what I'm saying? So you by you doing that as a woman, that doesn't get you to stand out. Now, if you want to increase your probability of having him be exclusive with you, the my number one suggestion is you get into your dark feminine and you get into your power as a woman. If you do that, to me, that gives you the best ability to actually have him be exclusive with you. Why? Because when you're in a dark feminine archetype and personality and consciousness, then you're inside your power as a woman. When you're
Mhm.
inside your power as a woman, that's extreme magnetism, not just beauty and looks,
Mhm.
right? But I'm talking about like that inner magnetism that pulls people to you, that pulls your man to you, that causes your man to want to ravage you. You see what I'm saying? So when she's into that energy, then he's going to be as much into her as a man possibly could be into a woman. You see what I'm saying? That's what
Yeah.
I suggest for women, not this other superficial stuff, because you're going to disappoint yourself. You think
Mhm.
you're giving the best head, and you're giving the no, it doesn't matter. And you might be giving the best head. You see what I'm saying? Like, I was dating a young lady, not really dating, but I've been with a young lady here, and I'm telling you, we had the best sex ever.
Mhm.
But I'm not going to be with her. Like that doesn't. You see what I'm saying? It's
Mhm.
it's not that mind blowing where it's like a clear separation. You know what I'm saying? Between her and the rest of the women out there. That's number one. Number two is, um, you know, just just having sex in that way, it doesn't kill my need for variety.
Mhm.
You see what I'm saying? Like, if I love hamburgers, you
Mhm.
know what I'm saying? Like it's the number one, number two, and number three food that I love the best and the most. I'm probably still gonna want steak and pizza, and
Yeah.
you see what I'm saying? Like it
Yeah.
doesn't matter. I can't. Most people can't just do the monotonous, non-variety thing their entire life.
I wanted to say something else to that before I go on to the next question, because when you say dark feminine power, I don't know that they necessarily understand what you mean. And so, like, it has to, from my perspective, it has to do with what you believe about yourself. So, if you're constantly, as a woman, if you're saying, okay, I want him to be exclusive to me, but the majority of your thoughts, 90% of your thoughts are about, Why did he look at her that way? Why did he hit like on her picture? Why did he talk to so and so? Like, what if he's lying to me? What if he's deceiving me? What if? And it's just what if all day long. That is not the state of consciousness of a woman who expects her dark masculine to be exclusive to her. That's the consciousness of a woman who's extremely insecure. So you have these extremely insecure women wanting exclusivity, but their consciousness is not a match to that. Does that make sense to you?
Absolutely. I agree 100%. Everything you said is correct. You
Mhm.
know, what makes a dark feminine woman so powerful and in her power is she has a very high level of real, raw, authentic confidence in herself.
Mhm.
You see what I'm saying? And when I had to say real because a lot of people say, I'm confident, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
No, I'm
Mhm.
talking about real, raw confidence, but it's not blind confidence.
Mhm.
Meaning the reason why a dark feminine is confidence because number one, she is a master of her sexuality, right?
Mhm.
So she understands one, how to do all the things when it comes to sex with a man. You see what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Number two, she understands how to transmute energy during sex. So when
Mhm.
she's having sex with a man, she's being fed. When she's being fed in that way, she's able to transmute that energy so that she can actually manifest the life that she wants. So she's very confident. So because she has this sexual mastery, she's always going to attract men. Because she's knows how to transmute energy, she's always going to be like super magnetic and always draw things to her, whether it's men or opportunity or prosperity or whatever it might be. So these are
Mhm.
women are very, very confident women. And men see that, they can feel that. A man
Mhm.
can see a woman who's actually confident versus a woman who's feigning confidence. You see,
Mhm.
and in the
Yeah.
same way, women can sometimes do that with men. Some women
Yeah.
look at a man like that, they know he's not really about that life.
Mhm.
Like we can look at some men out here like Yada or whatever. Like we know that, dude, you're not really no. A lot of stuff you're doing is because of the Napoleon complex stuff. You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So we don't really feel you confident like that as a man. So
Mhm.
that's why the dark feminine is confident and powerful because she really believes it and she's tested the waters and she interacts with men fearlessly. You see what I'm saying? She's not
Mhm.
separating herself, from men and from you see what I'm saying? Like no, she's in the world and she's interacting with the world and she's mastering it. She's mastered it.
Mhm.
So she just has all this confidence. She doesn't walk in any kind of fear.
So I'm going to give you a case study. So this isn't. There's several clients I've had that fall into this description. So I had a very wealthy client who she was the financial provider for her dark masculine, and she wants exclusivity, and but she also wants him to be completely truthful, open, and honest with her at all times, and he is. And so one day he told her that he felt a sexual attraction to another woman. He didn't act on it. He didn't act on it. He just told her how he felt. And she had a meltdown. She felt rage, jealousy, despair. I'm not enough. Like all this stuff came up just because he confided in her that he felt a sexual attraction to another woman. Like she had a meltdown, Raquel.
Yeah.
So my question to you is, why do so many women have their self-worth tied to monogamy or sexual exclusivity?
Well, monogamy and exclusivity, it really helps feed into your insecurities and kind of cover them up. So, for
Mhm.
example, what monogamy does is if you're monogamous to me, then that means you love me and have chosen me over all other women.
Mhm.
All your time, all your energy, all your money, all your efforts, all that goes to me. And so
Mhm.
it kind of gives you like this false sense of feeling good about yourself because this person invested in me. Now, here's the challenge with monogamy and you feeling good about yourself as a result is that, well, you only really feel that way truly when it's like certain men. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so what
Mhm.
women try to do is they try to get like a dark masculine.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, the dark masculine has options. He don't have to be with you like that. You see what I'm saying? And so you're still trying to hold him to monogamy so you can feel better about yourself. And
Mhm.
so that usually backfires for these women, right? Because they're not with him because they love him. They're not with him because, they're really into him like that. They're into him because they want him to validate who they are. And
Mhm.
that's why they're so triggered when he does things outside of, what she perceives as love or honoring her, respecting her, or whatever. You see what I'm saying? Like I've been in relationships like that with women who they're with me because they want me to validate who they are. You see what I'm saying? And so when I do things that, poke at that validation, then they get triggered. I mean, they go ballistic. You see
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And it's because, well, you're not with me for me. You're with me because you want me to validate that you're special or that you're whatever. And I
Mhm.
can't do that for you. Now, last thing I'll say about this is the women who are dating dark masculine men, they're also on a potential initiation path. And that initiation path is for them to become dark feminine women.
Yeah.
So, like this woman you're talking about, she's learning to become a dark feminine woman, right?
Mhm.
Where she gets to learn that, you know what, I don't need anybody to validate who I am or acknowledge me in any way. Like I know I'm the shit. Period. Point blank. You see what I'm saying? And so when that's the consciousness of a dark feminine woman. So when these women get to that point, then
Mhm.
absolutely now they've completed that initiation and now they're going to be fine when their dark masculine tells them the truth. But
Mhm.
what you said about, the dark masculine telling, his woman the truth and she gets triggered, that's why a lot of people are dishonest inside monogamous relationships because but people know like you're not really here for me. You see what I'm saying? And if I say the wrong thing to you, you're gonna be mad or get triggered or threaten to leave me, whatever it is. And so that's what I'm saying that the culture of monogamy it's unhealthy, it's psychotic, and people got to get out of that. I should be able to come to my wife and talk about absolutely everything. The woman I'm gonna be with for the next 70 years. Are you kidding me? Why would I have to hide anything from her?
Mhm.
Oh, because we're in a monogamous situation. I know she's really not down for me, the person, the whole person, right, including my shadow. And I'm just gonna hide. And she's doing the same thing to me. You see what I'm saying? Like I did, it was like the funny meme I used to love is like, um, this girl, she was like, this woman, a wife, she was like distraught. She's in her kitchen and she's like almost to tears, right? And her
Mhm.
husband is asking her what's wrong. And the meme is saying, when you can't tell your husband that you're sad because your boyfriend, you see what I'm saying, got married or something. You see what I'm saying? Like you can't talk to your man about that, which is ridiculous to me.
That's real. That's real. Okay, moving on. So, can you speak on the phenomena of house husbands? Because a lot of dark feminine women, especially ones with a lot of money, they tend to be attracted to a man who has little or no money. And some of these men are actually really good at cooking and cleaning and taking care of the home and doing what are considered traditionally feminine activities. So, what are your thoughts about the increasing phenomena of like men as like house husbands?
Yeah, I think it's great. But first of all, those activities are not feminine. Cooking and cleaning is not a feminine thing.
Okay.
There's more male cooks in the country than there are female cooks. You see what I'm saying? Like cooking is just a thing you do. You either have the skill or you don't. You see what I'm
Mm,
saying? So again, a lot of these gender roles that we talk about, they came about because women weren't allowed to work. And so
mm,
they were forced to find another way to contribute. That's the cooking and the clean and stuff like that. But none of those things are feminine by nature. That's number one. Number two, the house husband thing is great. Like when I was in corporate America, my bosses were women. I had mostly women as bosses. You see what I'm saying? All their husbands were stay-at-home husbands. They all watched the kids. They all did all the stuff because these women are making like six figures.
mhm.
Like I like for a large part of my life, I've been around women who make a ton of money. I've
Yeah.
worked for them. I've worked under them. Like I'm used to seeing empowered women. I'm used to
Mhm.
working for organizations and corporations that support that. You see what I'm saying? And so like that's why I'm saying like women's empowerment is very special and dear to me because I see how it goes when women are fully empowered. Now we have more people who are brilliant, expressing themselves, etc. But the house husband thing is great. If you're a man and you want to stay at home and do those things, and that feels good to you as a man, then you should do it. Especially if your woman's making $200,000-300,000 a year. Like, why wouldn't you do that? You see what I'm
Mm.
saying? So it's also common sense. But
Hmm.
but but the way marriage actually works, like forget what people are talking about out here with all this other stuff. The way marriage actually works is like it's a team effort. You see what I'm saying? So if my wife gets an opportunity to make millions of dollars and she needs me to travel with her and take pictures and take care of home, then I'm gonna do that. You see what
Mm.
I'm saying? Like, and vice versa. If I get a chance to make millions and millions, you see what I'm saying? Then, and I
Mhm.
need her to travel with me or to stay home and take care of the home, then she's gonna do that. Like, that's
Yeah.
what real marriage is. It's two people working together. You see what I'm
Mm.
saying? To make it work for the team, for the family. This other
Mhm.
stuff, like you said, the should stuff. The a man should do this, a woman should do that. That's all fantasy and BS.
Okay. Now, I think this applies to a lot of dark masculine, but maybe other types of men as well. But I've heard you talk about, and I've heard you yourself say that some men say that sex with unhealed and emotionally unstable women, i.e., crazy bitches, is the best sex. So why is that?
Well, the reason why sex with unhealed women can be, it's not always the case,
Okay.
but can be amazing sex is because, again, these are women who are trying to prove their worth, right? And in order to prove their worth, they'll do anything sexually. You see what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And not only will they do anything sexually, they focus on that as a way to prove their worth and to gain love and that kind of stuff. And so, yeah, a lot of times the women who are unhealed, who have a lot of trauma, they tend to be so uninhibited when it comes to sex that it tends to be really enjoyable. Now,
Mhm.
that's not the only women who are like, like really good at sex. No, women who are also sexually empowered and
Mhm.
sexually skilled are also good at sex, and that can be healed women or anybody. You see what I'm saying? But the unhealed women, yeah, like they just don't have high level of self esteem. They don't have high standards. You see what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So my give back when I'm with women like that is to help lift their consciousness, to treat them with respect, to show them, different sides of sexuality, to help them manifest a better life, to help them manifest a better man, and all those types of things. So like my give back when I'm with women who I feel are in that state or close to that state or whatever, it's like I need to treat her, as a beautiful queen and
Mhm.
like really show her what it's like to be a goddess on the planet and to have a man see her in that way and that kind of thing. So as men who are out here healing women, like those are the types of things that we should be doing to support these women. You see what I'm
Mhm.
saying? But unfortunately, a lot of times women just kind of get into abusive situations and they
Mhm.
think they're going to get the love or whatever from this man and they never end up getting it.
Mhm. That's so real. My next question is, why do so many women suddenly feel the urge to get pregnant when they start having sex with a dark masculine man?
There's a number of reasons.
Okay.
Um, and this is a thing too when I say that people are not truthful in relationships.
Okay.
Like a lot of women who are dating a dark masculine, they want to have his baby, but they won't tell him that. You know what I'm saying? But the reason why the woman wants that is because once she wants to feel the dark masculine inside of her, and like if she could stuff the dark masculine man into her chest cavity and walk around with him all day, she would do that. You see what I'm saying? Like that's how intense and the energy is for her. So she wants a part of him to be with her at all the times. Number
Yeah.
two, some women are doing that because they want to lock him down. They feel if they get pregnant, X, Y, and Z, that he's going to be with her or love her more or whatever it is, or start a family with her or whatever. So it's really just like she's just really drawn to his energy so strongly, so powerfully that she wants to feel him inside of her 24/7, 365.
Hmm. I think it's also biological. And I know you and I have talked about this, where, he's healing her physical body. And
Mm-hmm.
so, now her reproductive system is in overdrive. And it's like, oh, now is the time to get pregnant, you know?
Yeah, that could be true as well. I could definitely see that.
Hmm.
Where because she's healing, because her energy is increasing, she's ready to reproduce.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I have a question from one of your clients actually, and she says that she would like you to explain how is it that polyamory leads to a lot of jealousy from men and women.
How does
Like a lot in
polyamory lead to a lot of
polyamory, there's
jealousy?
still a lot of jealousy. So why is that?
Well, for most of the people who practice polyamory are monogamous people who came over to polyamory. So they
Mhm.
still have all the values of monogamy.
Okay.
So I know people think like when you come to polyamory, you automatically are on this elevated level, you automatically have emotional intelligence and stuff like that. And that might be true to a degree. But most of the people who are exploring it,
Hmm.
they're coming from monogamy. So they still have all those values, even though intellectually they understand the benefit of being polyamorous. Okay. So in terms of the jealousy and all that kind of stuff, yeah, they still have the jealousy. That's number one. Number two, jealousy is kind of natural. You know what I
Okay.
mean? Like, especially when you're not initiated into adulthood, you're gonna have envy, you're gonna have jealousy when you see people that have something that you want and that you haven't manifested yet. So when
Mhm.
you're a novice spiritually, you get jealous and you get envious instead of understanding, you know what, the reason why I might feel a bit insecure is because I know that I can achieve that same level or have that same kind of partnership or relationship, but I just need to dig down deeper and do more work so I can manifest it. Like that's the mature thing to do. But when you don't feel secure in yourself and don't feel confident in yourself, and you're not mature and emotionally intelligent, you're gonna you're going to target the other people with the
Mm,
jealous stuff, and that turns into like passive aggressive behavior and stuff like that. So that's where the
mm,
jealousy comes from. Again, we all suffer from that from whatever degree, but when
mm.
you're emotionally intelligent, you change that and channel that into I'm going to be better so I can create the life that I want for myself.
Beautiful. So I have two more questions to throw at you. These are actually not reels, memes that I saw. One is from Yada Awakening. And it so he's talking to the men in this meme, and he says here, why is it always she's keeping my kids from me and never my verbal and financial abuse, blatant disrespect, threats, narcissistic behavior, and absence when it suits me has consequences? So he's asking, why don't the men blame themselves for the fact that she's keeping the children away from you?
Well, yeah. First of all, if you are a man and the woman you had kids with is keeping the kids from you, it is on you. You see what I'm
Okay.
saying? So if it's a priority for you to see the kids, then you need to do what you need to do to see those kids with the woman that you chose to have children with. You understand? So
Mhm.
yeah, I agree. And from the standpoint of it's the man's responsibility. Same thing with the woman. You see what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So if I want a relationship with my children, I want to see them. But let's say my wife is, or not my wife, but the woman I had children with is unreasonable.
Mhm.
I got to take the L. You see what I'm saying? And I got to do the things that I have to do so that I have access to my children. I have to bite the bullet, period, point blank. I know men don't want to hear that, but
Yeah.
reality of the situation. Now, if you don't care if you see your kids, then yeah, keep acting out and holding your ground. And you see what I'm saying? Like, do all that. Like, nobody
Mhm.
cares really. This is your life we're talking about. But if
Mhm.
you want to see your children and you want to be in their life, then you need to do what you got to do as a man to get that, to make that happen.
Okay. Well, to play devil's advocate,
Okay.
in the red pill community, they will say, well, she's using the court system against me.
Absolutely, she is. Okay. Yeah, that's what the court system for. The court system is for you to gain advantage over somebody else. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, she's using the court system against you. She might have you paying too much money, or she might have you limited in terms of your visitation, or she won't let you come get them. You got to get your mother to come. You're like, whatever. Yeah, but guess what? It's you just take the L.
Mhm.
Take the L. You got to. This is where like priorities come into the picture. You see what I'm saying? Like, do you want a relationship with your children? Is it a priority for you to make sure they have a positive male role model in their life? Or is there something more important for you? Like holding to your pride or whatever the fuck. You see what I'm saying? Or complaining or whatever. If that's
Mhm.
if your pride and complaints is more important, then go do that. But
Mhm.
for men who I need to have a relationship with my children, I want to do that. I know I'm getting shafted through the court system. So we know how that whole thing works. We
Yeah.
get it. And I agree. The courts are mostly biased. It's really not like that anymore. If you're a
Oh.
man and you show up to court and you got your lawyer and you say I want to do for my children and I want to have co-parenting rights, then most courts at this day and age will give you that. So you
Mhm.
have to show up for yourself. But for the men who don't do that, yeah, you're setting yourself up for failure. You're going to be abused by the court system.
Mhm.
You missing court appointments, you not showing up, you still fighting with your baby moms and stuff like that. Yeah, you're gonna take the L. So
Mhm.
instead of taking all those L's and your kids not knowing you and not liking you, take the L to bite, to swallow your pride and do what you got to do so you can see your kids.
Mhm. Mhm. Including, find ways to harmonize with this woman. Because a lot of these men, they're so angry at their baby mother
I'll
that
tell
like
you.
they
Let me
can't
tell you.
even have a conversation with her.
Let me tell you a story. To that point, that's a really great point. I was having a conversation, and the young lady was telling me. She said because her son has had issues with his baby moms for like he's multiple baby moms and had issues with them, right? And one in particular did the exact thing you described, holding the kids, saying no, they can't go to dinner with you, they can't do that. You see what I'm saying? Like all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
What she told me was her son came to her and said, "Yeah, things between me and my baby moms are a lot better now, and I'm seeing the kids and we're hanging out more and all that." She said, "What happened? What did you do?" You know what he said? He
What is
said, I called her and I apologized
Mm.
for all the ways I didn't show up and all these things and all that kind of stuff. He said, you know what? Like we talk all the time now. You see what I'm
Mhm.
saying? He's like, So I agree with you. Absolutely. Like part of the solution is for men is like, look, you have to acknowledge and own where you didn't show up in this situation, this relationship.
Hmm.
You see what I'm saying? And like just own it. Now again, a lot of men have done that and will do that, and the woman still won't respond right.
Hmm.
And again, it's just a tough scenario. So now you gotta like do what you gotta do. But I agree. You can harmonize with these women. And that's what people need to be doing in relationships in general. Like I
Yeah.
said, all these movements and these people mad at each other and the gender wars, it's all BS. No, learn to take ownership for your behavior. Learn to acknowledge, you know what, I don't have communication skills. Yes, I do be going crazy and wigging out and all these types of things. Yes, I did call you out your name. Yes, I did have unhealed trauma, and that's why I couldn't show up in a relationship. Like, yeah, like acknowledge that stuff and go get that shit fixed. And that'll end all the gender war shit. You see what I'm saying? Like, go get your healing done. There's no reason for you to be angry and not love the opposite sex. It's ridiculous. We
Yeah.
need like sanity restored here. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, big time. So the last one. So you you said many times that it's totally okay for a woman to spend money on a man and a man can feel good about that. And so I saw this meme that I think is kind of maybe ridiculing or exaggerating that experience. So it says here, speaking from so the woman's the financial provider, the man has no money. So the man is saying in the reel, oh no, wait. No, no, no. This is the woman speaking. So the woman is saying, yes, I pay all the rent, bills, and groceries. I give him $2,500 a month as spending money. He does not work because he says he's manifesting. I bought him a PlayStation 5 before buying clothes for myself. He checks my bank account every week. I ask him before making big purchases. He says I'm lucky that he chose me.
Yeah,
So
that's
that's the
that's
fear
the
that women have that if I'm spending money on him, he might abuse me.
well. So first of all, that meme was a joke. Meme.
Yeah.
I saw that same meme. It was
Still, but
hilarious.
it's real though, and not to that extreme. But there are women that feel like he's taking advantage of me.
Well, look, I mean, that's the reality of having money. Somebody was asking me, somebody was asking me, like, and you might have asked me in the last podcast, like, if I have a lot of money, are people going to abuse me or try to just be with me for money or whatever? Like, yes, that's what that's what Bad Boy said. More money, more problems. Yes, people are going to look at you as a bank. You see what I'm saying? So in terms of the meme, this goes back to my thing about women's empowerment. Women's empowerment means you have equal opportunity to go out there and make the life that you want. For many women, they want to be rich and successful,
Mhm.
period, point blank. And for a number of those women, the men that they love or choose to be with, they're not going to be as successful or not going to have hardly anything. You see
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So is it a possibility that that man, could be abusive in that way? Yes. That's what men have been doing for the past 1,000 years. You see what I'm saying? They put themselves in that situation, but yes. So as a woman, you have to learn to navigate that. You've got to learn to manage your situation, manage your money in the right way, all those types of things to ensure you're protecting yourself, that you're not taken advantage of, and those types of things. Now, in that meme, the man said he's manifesting. Well, yeah, if you see as a woman that he's actually doing work, like he's trying to manifest stuff, he's doing research, he's talking to people, then yeah, you should believe in him. If all he's doing is playing PlayStation every day, all day, then he's not doing anything. And it's up to you to decide where are you okay with that? Because again, he might be dicking her down really good every night, and that might be all she needs, especially if she's a dark feminine. Dark feminine, like, I just need a man who can give me the activation. I was talking with my clients the other day. She's like, I need the activation.
Mhm.
If I get the activation, I can go out here and make a bundle of money, and that's been my history. I said, yeah. So now you know what kind of men to look for.
Mhm.
You're looking for activators in your life. So you don't need somebody paying equal money. That's You can make money on your own. You see what I'm saying? And that's the case a lot of women are in. These women are making a lot of money nowadays. It's
Yeah.
a whole different ball game. They're not really they don't need a man for money like that. It's just different now.
Mhm. Speaking of activation, I want to say a little bit more about that. It's not always just physical sex. Because I had a conversation with you earlier this morning and I felt activated by it. And like I felt so good that I did a live stream and I showed up so confident and so certain and so convicted in myself that I feel that just that one live stream is going to result in sales for me. Like that's how confident I felt. But I do feel that just from talking to you for that 1 hour, like it just gave me something extra. And I would
Yeah,
love to show up more powerfully on social media.
absolutely. And that's one of the things that I hold in terms of my value that I know about myself. You see what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like I know that just my energy and interaction with women, it activates them. You
Mhm.
understand? Like there's this woman, I got her number. I told you about her, I think already, maybe last podcast. But I got her number at Starbucks.
Okay.
And it was just like one of those things, like I'm just waiting to get picked up the whole thing. And like we were just like in each other's space for so long and she was kind of awkward. And said, let me get her number and give her my number. You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So I gave her my number. I texted her. She never texted me back. It's been like 2 months. She
Okay.
texted me like last week or 2 weeks ago and she called me first. And then I talked to her and I said, I talked for like 15 minutes. I said, it's great hearing from next one Z, but I gotta go take a call. She's like,
Mhm.
okay. Got back on the phone with her like an hour later.
Okay.
And so we're talking again. And she's like, well, I just want you to know, like, I feel so good talking to you. Like, you're some kind of good luck charm or something, because,
Mhm.
I was feeling down. I had a rough week, but I feel like really good. Like, and she was using like, in Christian terms. Like, I feel something, whatever the Christians say about more light or energized or whatever.
Holy Spirit.
Yeah, like the Holy, yeah, she's talking about, yeah, I just feel the spirit within me and I feel like I can go do all these things. And I'm like, yeah, like I didn't tell her this, but I said, yeah, that's what I do. You see what I'm
Mm.
saying? So I know just by me being in a woman's presence that it's going to activate, it's going to increase her. That's why I like my coaching for women. It's not just about my coaching, like what I'm saying to you.
Mhm.
No, by you and I interacting, I know I'm activating you.
Mm.
Activation means the things that you want and desire are going to come to light. It
Mhm.
means like you're going to feel better, you're going to feel healthy, you're going to feel more energized. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? You're going to feel more clear mentally, you're going to be more clear. Like that's the effect I have on women.
Mhm.
Part of that's because of me being a tantric person and studying that for a long time. Even like I even had this guy when I was in Toronto. You won't
Okay.
believe this, but I was in Toronto years ago, and I was at this fair that with Victor, right? And
Okay.
this brother came up to me and said he was asking me all these questions. You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And I said, yeah. He said, do you meditate? I said, yeah, I meditate X, Y, and Z. He said, yeah, I can tell it sticks to you. I'll never
Mm.
forget that. He said, it sticks to you. I'm like, oh, what do you mean? He's like, you just carry a certain energy about you, like this cool, calm, collective, very reassuring, kind of powerful energy. So like
Mm.
even men can feel it. Like I end up activating everybody I'm around, but the women usually communicate back to me that that's what actually happened to them.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so yes, that's a value thing.
Yeah, for real.
A lot of women want to
It's
be with me.
invisible. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's invisible. Like it's not tangible, but it's real. And it's the same thing with the dark feminine. Like I feel that way too with when I'm on a call with my clients. Like I've noticed a difference. Like if I'm doing Telegram with them and I'm writing my response in writing,
Uh-huh.
I feel it on a certain level. But when they get on a call with me and they hear my voice, they feel it so much more profoundly. That's why I charge so much for my coaching calls because I know that it's not just the advice that I'm giving. That's like a small percentage. It's my actual voice. It's my transmission. It's my codes that they're feeling, and that activates them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
So, yeah, the dark feminine and the dark masculine, it's not always the tangible. The man could have no money. The woman could have no money, but there's just something about them that just like makes you feel more alive.
Right. And now
And we
you
need to acknowledge that.
absolutely. That's my point. So now you get it, right? So when women are like with their dark masculine
Hmm.
and they're asking for all this stuff. You see
Hmm.
what I'm saying? Exclusivity and communication, and you gotta tell me the truth and all this. I'm like, you're missing the entire point. You
Mm.
see what I'm saying? Like, this man can make you a multimillionaire.
Mm.
You see what I'm saying? This man can make you healthy. He can
Mm.
cure all your illnesses, everything that you got going on. Why are
Mm.
you focused on this petty Annie crap?
Mm.
You see what I'm saying? So you get what I'm talking about.
I gotta say one more thing. I know you gotta go, but I said this earlier on my live stream because this needed to be said. So a lot of women who they have a lot of money, they spend it on their dark masculine, and then they find that they start to lose money, or their income drops, or their sales drops, or whatever, and they blame him. And I was saying it's not him. What the issue is that you're not allowing yourself to feel good about expressing your love for him through the money that you're spending on him. You're feeling twisted up and conflicted and weird about it. And that is what's fucking up your money. It's not the fact that you're spending money on him, it's that you're not letting yourself feel good about it. You're feeling, oh, something's wrong with me. I'm not a real woman. I must be less of a woman because I spent $10,000 on him. And that internal conflict is what is causing you to make less money. What do you think of that theory?
I agree 100%. That internal conflict, that is a killer. Because now the energy that you just gained from being with your dark masculine is being wrapped up. It's inside of you. It can't express itself.
Mm.
So it's just stuck energy, and it's doing damage to you on the inside, like physically. But
Yeah.
it's also manifesting as like your money not coming in and you're not having the prosperity you need. I 100% agree with that. In addition to that, a lot of times these women get activated, right? But
Mm.
because they feel the insecurity around themselves and whatever, they attack their dark masculine. The insecurity, they're yelling and attacking their
Mhm.
dark.
Yeah, verbal abuse.
Yes. And so now instead of you using that energy to like manifest and enjoy and feel good, you're channeling that back at him in the terms of aggression.
Yeah.
So so now the energy cannot be used to make you money,
Mm.
cannot be used for prosperity or health or anything. So that's the other thing that to me is doing it as well. Like if you weren't so insecure about yourself, you would not be wasting this energy. This is a gift.
Mm.
Like, thank God you manifested this man into your life. You see what I'm saying? You are about to be rich if you could just get your shit together.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's why the internal work, Leslie, is very important
Mhm.
because you have to heal these wounds that have you feeling so insecure. You just talking to your client, that's not going to do it by itself.
Mhm.
You see what I'm saying? That's why, you having the length of time that you need so you can really, really get in there and do that work with them is
Mhm.
important
Mhm.
because they hear the words you're saying, but these traumas are so deep, sometimes it's hard to get past.
Majorly. So I just want to thank you so much for this podcast episode. Thank you for being in my life. I'm so grateful for you, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you so much. Peace and blessings.